Welcome along to our Power Platform community meeting for November. Yes, it is November. It is almost Christmas. So where has the year gone? We've got some great news and information for you in our session today, and we have started the webcast and we are recording. I'll double check my recording button and the sound is working. So again, if you do have any issues, please check your settings. If you do have any questions after the event or have topic suggestions for us, please email me director@ciaops.com. Hit me up on the Twitter @directorcia as well. Now, again, we certainly encourage you to take this opportunity to focus on the content. There is some really great stuff here and you will get the most out of it. And we are certainly open to questions that you do ask after the fact. I've added the new Q&A app into this meeting. You can type it into the chat or you can use that Q&A option as well if you wish. So as always, we will give you a bit of an introduction to our experienced panel of presenters. We'll do a bit of a roundup and an update. Lots of news and exciting stuff coming thanks to Microsoft Ignite last week. And then we'll get into the meat of the matter, which will be about showing you all about virtual agents. And I think this is a really key topic. I think a lot of people may not be aware of how powerful these agents actually are. So again, stick around for that. And as always, we will have the ability to open the floor to Q&A and take your burning questions. So with that, why don't I hand off to the first of our presenters?
Cheers, Rob. Thanks to everyone for attending today's session. It's much appreciated. And for those who don't know me, I'm Andrew from Power Assist. I have experience using all Microsoft products, creating modern workplace environments, and now focusing on using the Power Platform to improve business processes. I write a weekly blog on both Microsoft 365 and the Power Platform and try to assist new developers where I can. So please don't hesitate to contact me on any of the platforms listed on the screen. Over to you, Bill.
Thanks, Andrew. My name's Bill from Mallett Solutions. And here at Mallett Solutions, our goal is to help small and medium-sized businesses to modernize their business systems and processes using the Power Platform. And so hopefully this webinar goes along a little bit towards that as well. So now over to Yeoman.
Thanks, Bill. In my long history of working with Microsoft products, the Power Platform's a really exciting new addition to what I've been teaching people about using modern workplace. So automation and things like virtual agents that we'll show in this webinar, it's just really exciting stuff that we can bring to even small businesses so they can stand up against other small businesses or even big business. On that note, let's get on with the news. Thanks, Robert.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good to have an intro. Make sure that you do reach out to them and ask any specific questions, and do follow the content that they are putting out there. So all the details there. You'll get a copy of the slides after the fact, so no need to worry about grabbing any screenshots there. Now, our first item on the agenda is to look at some updates to the Power Platform, and there has been many from Ignite. So why don't we hand over to the guys and get them to work through these?
Thanks, Rob. Our first item of news is an announcement from Ignite, and it relates to paying for Power Apps. They've announced a new form of billing for Power Apps that's called Pay As You Go. Now, what this really allows you to do is it's a bit like billing in Azure, if you're aware of that. You may not be, but the concept is you pay for the number of people who use the app throughout the month rather than having to guess up front how many people are going to use it and allocating up front. And this may particularly help you if you're trying to work out your return on investment, because now you know how much each user is going to cost you and you can value it per user. Okay, the next one is with Andrew.
Thank you, Bill. I must say it's really nice to hear that the billing and the licensing of Power Apps is getting easier. And for those that weren't aware, in the past, you needed to install a Power Apps player to access your custom-made Power Apps. But things are now changing. Previewing this December, Power Apps will become distributable via iOS and Android App Store as native apps, so no need to separately install the Power Apps player. To deliver a seamless app experience for users, Power Apps mobile apps will enable makers to easily package Canvas apps. Power Apps mobile apps will allow makers to deliver a completely branded end-to-end experience for their mobile apps, distributed natively through Microsoft Endpoint Manager and private app stores like Microsoft App Center, Apple Store, and managed Google Play. The Power Apps is now on the screen. Over to you, Yeoman.
Another exciting announcement from Ignite was something that we've all been wanting to do with Power Apps, which is experimental co-authoring. So we can all work on some features where it's going to be shared between, say, the three of us when we're developing our leave request app. Is we're allowed to do things like putting some comments in when we're, just like when we're using Word or Excel or PowerPoint, we can actually put some comments in with our Power Platform components. So that way we can have conversations, we can leave notes, we can have questions, and so it just makes for a better collaborative experience when we're developing in a team for particular apps or Power Automate or various other Power Platform components. The other exciting development with this experimental co-authoring from Microsoft is they are going to introduce the ability for two different developers to work on the same Power App at the same time. So previously we used to get this really annoying message every time one of us was going in to edit an app when someone else was already editing. You say, sorry, this application is locked because another user's in it. This is going to be no more from about December. They're going to start introducing this for at least 2 users and hopefully more after that. The other big announcement is that they will be allowing you to work on committing these Power Apps to using what they call Git. And for those more professional ones, that means a way of doing version control. So it's introducing to beginner Power Apps developers the ability to keep control of the developments of their app. So those three small announcements and this one big one is very exciting news. Over to the next piece of news.
Thank you, Yeoman. So the next bit of news that I found was that Microsoft are introducing conditional access on individual apps and Power Apps. So for those that don't know, conditional access allows administrators to create policies to determine who can log in, when they can log in, what device logs in, and specific login locations into the Power App. So new Power Platform updates provide administrators with more control over app access and compliance. Conditional access policies on individual apps give admins the right controls over apps and data. Admins can now apply policies to block guest access or require multi-factor authentication for specific apps. As well as the existing security and DLP controls, which admins manage and access to apps, and the data within apps, admins can now quarantine a specific app that doesn't meet an organization's policy. Back to Yeoman now.
Thanks, Andrew. More and more AI is being introduced into the Power Platform and using things like this AI builder. So the most exciting announcements regarding AI is to do with things like bringing your own machine language models from outside of Microsoft into the Microsoft Power Platform. So they can be from any coding language, framework, even hosted in some other place like AWS. And you can register them now within the Power Platform. And once it's in there, it can be used by your team throughout various components you're developing in the Power Platform, from a Power App to a Power Virtual Agent, etc. The more visual, exciting development is the introduction of image classification with a service called Lobe. It's a free to easy use app that Microsoft developed to make AI models. So things like you can make image classification, such as telling what trees there are. You can recognize plants, colors, gestures, emotions, and it will all be thrown into a machine language learning model for use with your Power Apps. So that's really, really exciting. It will make for richer, deeper, much more functional apps with some very exciting results. And one of the other features will be enhancements to processing forms. So the AI will start processing more of those forms, such as recognizing tag checkboxes, recognizing pages and grids of information, and it'll extract it. And the other thing is it will do things like language recognition, which now means that there's about 73 different languages, including Chinese, French, German, and so on, that will now be recognized by machine learning language for your documents to be inserted into whatever dataverse that you have going on for your apps and so on. And I'll hand over to Bill for the last piece of news.
Thanks, Yeoman. Everyone asked me to recommend a session from Ignite for this webinar, and there was so many that I was particularly interested in, but one that I thought would be very good for this audience was one entitled Low Code, No Code, No Problem, a beginner's guide to the Power Platform. Very interesting session, a good overview of the Power Platform, but it also includes a very interesting example that actually makes use of AI, just what Yeoman was just talking about. And it's very interesting now how the Power Platform can make use of AI and how easily it is to include quite powerful AI into the Power Platform. So this session is well worth a look, whether you're reasonably experienced or not, because it will give you that example of using AI in the Power Platform. So I highly recommend going and have a look at that session. Only 30 minutes. Thanks, Rob. That's the end of our news.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, guys. So if you are out there, make sure that you do take advantage of Microsoft Ignite. There are plenty of sessions in the Power Platform. You can go in and filter and view them. It'll keep you busy for many hours. The good thing about the recordings is obviously you can watch them at double speed to catch up on the information quicker. Also, don't hesitate to reach out to the guys about anything that you've seen there, any questions you may have. Follow their media feeds of the information they'll be publishing as they learn more and filter through that information from Microsoft Ignite. Now, with all that said, let us turn our attention to creating a Power Virtual Agent and really get a feel here for what I think is probably the most exciting component of the Power Platform, and really how easy it is to do. So I think I hand it over to Andrew and we'll be off to the races.
I think Yeoman's going first this week. Yeoman, are you there?
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry, just trying to share my screen here. Thanks, Andrew. Okay, so Power Virtual Agents, also known as chatbots or bots. So you may have seen some of these, but it's basically a automated program that conducts normal language conversation via text or input via voice. So basically you will get some benefits out of it, like solving business problems. So you can have customer or staff interaction via a website or Teams and so on. It's very actually easy, and it's a very quick way to get started with Power Virtual Agents. There's very little coding required, actually. It allows you to conduct natural and rich conversations while interacting and solving a customer's problems or a staff member's problems. So it's very approachable, very easy, very human. And it can be linked to other services, such as other parts of the Power Platform, or maybe you've got an existing system like an ordering system that you can actually link in with your Power Virtual Agent. So it just makes a seamless transition, such as purchasing a product or helping someone out in getting a quote or some other assistance that they require. So some examples are something like you see on Bunnings website. There is a virtual assistant that shows up, so it can help you readily when you're doing an online order or you just need some other assistance. Or even to hopefully when we start getting out of these, getting into the routine of traveling again, you can use this lastminute.com. It's got a lower the health button, and once you click on it, you get a virtual agent to start chatting with you to do things like make a booking, get refunds, or any other assistance that you may require. So it's very, very easy to start building a chatbot. Anyone can do it, and all you have to do is use this URL on the screen there. And once you actually do that, then you will actually be presented with the Power Virtual Agent starting screen. And I will just bring that up. And basically, it will look something like this. So it's a very easy start. So you can start with a free account, or you can watch an overview. But once you hit the start button like so, it will bring up a sign up screen. And you will, if you don't have the Microsoft 365 account, it doesn't matter. You can just sign up. So all you have to do is just follow the wizard. So if you've got a Microsoft account, of course, you have to do the sign-in procedure, and which I'm going to do right now. But it's all very, very friendly. And so just for the region, get started, and just answer a few very, very simple questions. So it will eventually lead me to a screen where we talk about what you want to call your bot, and get started. And as you can see, it's a little bit of lag as we just get through the authentication. So, but you will actually find that this is a very step-by-step process that is very, very easy. So you'll get the, yes, I'd like to see the information. And now we're actually getting into the nitty-gritty of setting up at least the basics of the bot. So we're just going to call it Yeoman's TryBot because we're trying something out. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it Jeeves. You can call it Siri if you wanted to. You call it whatever you want. And then we'll just set the right language. Yep, that's the right environment. And we just hit create. Now, what's going to happen is it takes possibly up to 15 minutes to actually create this bot. So while that's cooking, here's one we have prepared earlier. So as you can see, it's a very simple thing with actually a test version of the bot that already exists right here. So you can do things like immediately start using the bot because it actually comes with some system created parts of the bot. So moving through, there's things like topics, which basically it defines how a conversation will play out when you're interacting with a person using the bot. So for instance, a topic could be what time are you open? If this is which is a pre-canned bot. So it has some of these samples. So it says, I'm very happy to help with store hours, and it gives you the various opening hours. And you can actually interact immediately with this bot that you've just created out of the box. So, and you can interact, even has a little survey that you can do. No thanks, and that's the end of experience. So that's topics. So in topics, you can pose various end game scenarios for interactions with customers, such as what time are you open, what do you sell. So I want to buy a laptop, same thing. So that's actually a listed topic in here, and it will actually present you with various answers. So moving through quickly what you get to see. Entities is an interesting one. This is basically what the bot actually gathers as part of the information when they're interacting with you. So if I put my name down as I am Yeoman Yu, it will actually be listed as one of the informations that have been connected in entities, and it can be used at any stage with the virtual agent. So anywhere from name, your email address, phone numbers, and as you can see through this list, country, etc., etc. There's a lot of information that you don't realize, or a customer doesn't realize, that the virtual agent can easily automatically interact and gather straight out of the box. And of course, what Power Platform component wouldn't be without analytics, because you actually need to see how well your bot is doing in the environment. So it will give you some scores about what sort of interactions, and because I've already started using it, there's already some data automatically available. So it's really, really simple, and it's easy to analyze. And when you're ready to actually let loose your app for testing, for other customers to interact, you just publish it. So when you publish it, you are allowed to just put it live, and you can actually publish it to various channels. And the various channels is essentially the mediums that it will let loose this bot onto. So you can have a bot acting with Microsoft Teams, you can have it on a demo website, or even a custom website, mobile app, even Facebook. We'll just show you on a demo website what you can do, and we'll just do save. And it's ready to go, and you can actually publish it so that there is a test arena that they will go to. But on that note, that's really simply how a bot is easily created, ready to go. And for more about how we're going to turn a simple bot out of the box like this into a solution, I'm going to hand over to Andrew. So as Andrew's getting set up,
Yep.
Yep, you ready?
Thanks, Yeoman, for the great description of the ins and outs of the Power Virtual Agents. I must note that it is important to let users know they are talking to a bot. Research shows that this gets the best results and doesn't surprise or annoy the user if they find out it isn't a real person halfway through the communication. So let's begin with a real business problem, one that every business deal with and will have some sort of process for, and that is a leave request system. From what I have seen, businesses will have a paper form that is printed, filled out by the employee, submitted back to admin or HR, and manually typed into a system. Now, if you could see my handwriting, you don't want to be the admin person trying to type it into the system. This setup is a very manual process, which is full of potential mistakes and is very labor intensive. So what's the solution? The solution is automation, and the great thing is you already have the tools to implement a solution with the Power Platform. The Power Platform enables companies to change from the painful, mistake-driven manual processes to quick, accurate, automated processes that is repeatable every time. So why Power Virtual Agents? Well, Microsoft Forms and Microsoft Power Apps does a good job at obtaining data from the user, but it does so in a linear way. For example, a form will ask for a medical certificate for all leave types, where a bot will only ask for the medical certificate when sick leave is chosen. A form will list a bunch of questions, which it will then expect an answer for each question. If you have another topic of questions, well, you need another form, and then the number of forms can easily get out of hand. Unlike a form, one virtual agent can have several topics, meaning the user only needs to go to one place for all their requests. Power Virtual Agents has intelligence. Instead of multiple forms with multiple questions, the agent has intelligence to determine what questions should be asked, when to ask the questions, and how to action when the data is received. So how does it all work? The automation of the bot works like a flowchart. It only asks questions that are required and makes decisions dependent upon the inputs received. Who remembers from school the Choose Your Own Adventure series? You'd read a chapter, be asked some questions, then go to a specific page dependent upon your answers. Power Virtual Agents is pretty much the same concept. And it begins with asking the bot a question. Let's go through the steps to create a leave request. To start the bot, the user asks a question. The question is then analysed against keywords. A topic is chosen and a conversation begins. In my example, I am looking for phrases to start a leave request, such as, I need some sick leave. The bot will then go through a process. From the user's questions, the bot selects a topic and confirms with the user the topic selection. Now the user is asked some general questions like name and email. And then the user is prompted for the type of leave required. To bring in some personalisation, a message with sentiment is displayed. Now the user is asked for specific leave information. And lastly, the bot confirms the information with the user. So now let's look at a flow in its entirety, showing the interaction between the user and the bot. You can clearly see the conversation between the bot and the user with the different color coding I've used. So now let me demo how this bot flows and interacts with Power Virtual Agents. So here I've already logged into my Business Solutions Power Virtual Agent and I'm in the leave request topic. Generally, a user will just greet the bot with a simple hello message, and the bot will use the pre-topic that's automatically in the system to greet the user and basically asks how it can help me today. So as I displayed in my PowerPoint presentation, I'm going to ask the bot that I need some sick leave. You can see the trigger phrases on the right here, where the bot is looking for some for the different phrases. Hang on, I haven't pressed the button there. And you can see in green as the bot flows through the flow what it is picked up and what it is requesting. So the bot is now asking me, can it help me with some leave requests? And that's exactly what I was wanting the bot to give me. And I answer truly to that question. Prompts me for my name. And now email, gathering just general information that it needs for its processing. It would like to know when my leave is going to start. I have the option here of just simply putting in a date, or I can even tell it that I want my leave to end next Friday. And the bot has the smarts to pick up automatically the date of next Friday. Once again, you can see the bot flowing through the processes and selecting through the different choices that it has dependent upon the answers that I give it. Now it's asking me for the reason for my sick leave. And just got a bit of a migraine happening. And it wants to know whether I have a medical certificate for my sick leave, which I'm going to say I do. Now, if I'd chosen that I wanted annual leave, the bot wouldn't have asked me about the medical certificate. Now, once the bot has received all the information, It processes that information and displays a message thanking me, Andrew Gallagher, that I'm requesting sick leave that starts on the 11th of the 11th, 2021 and finishes next Friday, which if I check my calendar down here, is the 19th of the 11th, 2021. And it'll contact me back on my email address. Prompts me if I've asked my question, and then once again goes back to the automated response and gives me a 5 out of 5. And asks if it can help me with anything else, which I could then continue on, and it goes off and could pick a different topic. Now, one thing I'd like to just also display if I restart this bot, that the bot knows what information it wants before it even runs through the flow. So once again, if I ask for some sick leave, and it prompts me for my name. If I'm not paying attention, and instead of putting in my name, I put in my email address, it re-asked me for my name because it knows that it didn't get my name. It received an email address. So I give it my, I now give it, I'm paying attention, except I'm spelling my name wrong, and put my name in. It has the intelligence to know that I'd already given it the email address, so it skips the email address question and goes straight on to onto when I want to start my leave and when I want to end my leave. So the order in which the user gives the information to the bot doesn't necessarily have to be in the exact same flow as the bot. The bot knows what it wants, and if it's given, it just accepts the information and moves on. So I'll just run through the rest here, the medical certificate, which is exactly the same as what I showed before, and you can see that it's gone off. And I'm actually flowing out, sending the flow out to Power Automate, where I can do all of my calculations and my configurations and my display format in Power Automate, and then send that data back into the Power Virtual Agents to display to the user. And that is the end of my presentation, and I'm going to hand over to Bill.
Thanks very much, Andrew, for that. I'm going to do a similar thing as Andrew and take us through another topic in the same virtual agent as Andrew's. I've come along later and said, let's add another one to Andrew's. So what is my business problem then? So my business problem is the same one we introduced in the first webinar, and that is you're in a conference or a major meeting, a boardroom, and you want to ask people for their drink orders. But, the old paper system gets it all a bit wrong, a bit like Andrew's leave request. It's probably better if you can automate it so you can get accurate orders, isn't it? So we'll revisit that problem. What was our solution before? Well, we used a form. We had a form and people filled in the form, and we used our Power Automate to store away the orders. But this time we're going to use Power Virtual Agent instead. So why Power Virtual Agent? Well, more or less the same kind of things Andrew was talking about. It's smarter. It's got inbuilt smarts that help us, but it's also got the ability to go down the different paths. And as you'll see, I'm about to show you in a bit of a flow diagram, some of the different things we can do in a Power Virtual Agent that would be very difficult to do in a form. So let's go through a bit of a flow and show you some of those things. So just like Andrew's, we've got to start with our question. So let's see what question we might ask. I would like to place a drink order. That's the obvious question here. So what does the bot do? The bot comes back and says, "Hi, I'm Bruce, the order bot. Are you looking to place a drink order?" So we're just confirming, making sure we're in the right place. What happens if I said no? Perhaps I wanted to order a laptop, and so I've said no, not a drink order. So I say no. Well, you don't have to go back to the start. As Yeoman noticed, there's a purchasing topic. So perhaps I should check first and go to the purchasing topic. We can do that. We don't have to force the person back to the start. If we've got overlapping topics, we can jump into the other topic instead of making them go to the beginning. But anyway, let's go back to answering yes. We'll go through our flow and we'll see that it's pretty much the same as Andrew's. I've answered yes. So I'm going to ask for some personal details. In my case, the person enters their name, their email, email and where they're sitting. And then I'm going to ask for the drink type. And as per our form, we ask if they answer with a coffee or tea or hot chocolate, then we're going to ask for some more details about coffee, tea or hot chocolate, like they're going to enter their milk type and the number of sugars they want. Now, all that was on our form before, so going through this process, and like Andrew, we could have used our Power Automate from before and we could have stored this order away. But in my bot, for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to display it back to the screen. But you can see pretty much the same as Andrew's. But what our form didn't handle very well is what happens if I wanted water? Now, do I need milk type and sugars for water? No, all I wanted to know was details involved in a cold drink. So my bot recognizes that we're dealing with a cold drink here, not a hot drink. And so all it wants to know is, do you want it in a bottle or in a glass? And then it's going to store away the order. So you can see how that's far more powerful than what a form can do, or your form's going to get rather messy and complicated trying to deal with all those things. The other thing with drink ordering is, what if I wanted to order 2 drinks? Previously, I'd have to go back and enter the whole form again, name, email, everything. So in my bot, I can just ask, do you want another order? And if they answer yes, just take them back to the drink type so they can order another drink. We already know their name and email and seating location, so we only have to go through those steps to get another order, a different drink. So you can see quite clearly there how more powerful the virtual agent, our bot, can be over having a form. And it's not difficult to do. We just got to put those steps into our Power Virtual Agent. So just to show you how it works, I'm going to do a demo similar to Andrew. So let's move over to our demo screen over here. And I've got our test bot up and I'm in my drink order. So let's just go through what we went through in that demo in the flow, so you can see it actually in action. So I say, I would like to place a drink order. So you'll notice that flow through on the right, the actual things that I've put into the bot. And then here is our confirmation after drink order. Simple click on the yes, and we move forward. So it asks for my name. So Bill, that's my name. Okay, what's my email address? Okay, Bill@Solutions. Okay, simple. Okay, where are you seated? I'm in row number 2. Okay, what kind of drink would you like? Okay, coffee. Yep, skim milk, unfortunately. Yep, 0 sugars. And you'll see I get the nice little message. Thanks, Bill. We will email a message to bill@mallet.solutions when your drink is on its way and bring it to you at row 2. Coffee, skim, 0 sugars. Would you like to place another drink order? So you see, nice little interaction. Not much advantage with the simple flow than with a form. But what happens if I ask, similar to Andrew, a slightly smarter question? I'm going to say, I would like to order a bottle of water. Okay, so I've actually been more specific in my question. First, it just double checks again after a drink order. Doesn't want to get that wrong. So I say, yep, it's a drink order. And what is your username? Bill at Mallett. Okay, made the same mistake as Andrew. Sorry. Oh, name. Sorry, got that wrong. Not username. Bill. Okay. Now, it jumps over the question, but why did it do that? Did I have to put something in there to make it do that? No, as Andrew noted, it just Power Virtual Agents, they know, they understand you've already put that in. So I can go straight into row 2. I'm in row 2. Okay, what's my bot going to do next? Well, already at the end, because I asked for a bottle of water and the system, that's all the system needed to know. So immediately I get to the end. Thanks, Bill. Email you at bill@mallet.solutions when your drink is on its way and bring it to row 2, or water bottle. Okay, excellent. You see, so I didn't have to build that in. The bot is smart enough to know when you've already answered a question that it needs to ask, and that fills in those answers, only asks the questions it needs to. If I was to ask for a coffee with skim milk, it would understand I'm after a coffee and I want skim milk, but I haven't told it how many sugars. So it would ask me how many sugars I would like. Now, imagine the following situation. You're a nursery, right? And you have your customers using your bot to ask you questions about plants and things so that you can help them out. But your customer doesn't really know what this plant is. So your bot asks them if they can provide a picture. And so the customer provides a picture, the following picture on the screen perhaps, to your bot. And your bot can actually use artificial intelligence to work out what that plant is so that then it can continue the conversation knowing exactly what you're talking about, even though the customer didn't even know what it was. Does that sound a bit futuristic? Well, it does sound a little bit futuristic, but it's possible today with the AI that Yeoman was talking about earlier, both in the news and when he was having his discussion. So this is all very possible with the AI today. We're not going to go through it today, but if people are interested, perhaps AI could be a topic of a future presentation. So that's the end of our demos now. So back to you, Rob.
Excellent. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, guys. I think that was a really worthwhile presentation. Lots of great information in there. Let me get the good old slide deck back up and continue on. So the idea here is to stop and think about, firstly, the capability of the Power Virtual Agent as part of the Power Platform. So we've gone through things like the automation. We've gone through and looked at the forms. We've talked about that integration, the flows that we've created for you in previous sessions. But what we've also now done is integrated this next feature. So you need to step back and have a think about this in totality. This is building on all the options that we have seen before. So remember, this is only part of the whole package here, and it's going to give you the benefits of working together. Now, with that in mind, because we always like to have a hands-on capability, if you want to, you can go and grab that URL and give it a go yourself. It's public URL there, so I might get one of the guys to copy that and stick it in the chat for us so that people can go readily click on that and have a play with it. So at the end of the day, like I said, it's very easy to, as you've seen, run up something very simple, get it started, get it published, get a feel for it, and then continue to go on and build from there. So remember that we're looking at the benefits here of Power Virtual Agent, but we're also needing to take into account all the other capabilities. We've talked about the ability to launch flows, do automation processes, and so on. So really, at the end of the day here, what you need to think about is, this Power Platform is going to be a way to collect data, which you're probably keying in manually. So just avoiding that or circumventing that's going to save your business huge amounts of time and effort. Now, these Power Virtual Agents and anything we show you is designed to solve a business problem. So as many of the guys have shown you, is the first step is really defining that problem. That is really the key, I think, is to step back and basically go in and say, hang on, what is the process, or how do we want this process to go, and start with that. If you're just working out it randomly, it's going to take you twice as long at least, because you haven't stepped back and thought about it. Now, we can run this Power Virtual Agent from a website, from Teams, from our mobile. There's just so many places that this can be surfaced. So don't think it just appears on a website or just within the Microsoft environment. It can appear in many places, and it can perform, rudimentary tasks, but that does save a lot of time and effort. Now, remember, we can integrate this with just about anything. We can use this within the Power Platform as a standalone app. We can embed it into our Microsoft 365 environment. We can use it in SharePoint. This is the big benefit of the Microsoft 365 platform, is this integration, this ability to get the analytics, as Yeoman was pointing out, to go back in and analyze it, keep improving it, enhance it. What are people actually typing? What's the response? How well does all of this work? So remember that this is one of the huge benefits. Now, the huge benefit above all that is that, guess what? It's all typically included in the licensing that you have. And if it's not, it's a small add-on cost. Now, as we mentioned, it will work on any device. It's platform independent. As long as it will be displayed in a website, as wherever you can see a website, you're going to be able to interact with the virtual agent. Now, the final option is, as Bill mentioned, is the enhancements around AI that are being added to this platform daily. Now, back in the day, it would be a very expensive capability to be able to use AI in a small business. But guess what? Today, you have the ability to leverage terabytes and terabytes of data, AI models, learning that other people have created, and basically then utilize that inside your own business. So you don't have to invent the wheel, but again, look at the leverage, the capabilities that you now have access to that was never a possibility before. So I think this is probably the most exciting component of it, and we're yet to see, the real advantages roll out to this platform. So keep an eye out for all of that. Now, of course, there are some resources there for you. You'll get a copy of the slides after the fact. The ones we would call out is obviously, a certification is good to help you on your path of learning. And you'll also note there are some training days that are coming up there shortly. If you want to go and sign up, those are provided basically by Microsoft. So again, at the end of the day here, there are lots of resources there that you can take advantage of. And again, we will make sure that these slide decks are made available for you. So again, lots of really good information there for you. Now, what I'll call out here is firstly that all of this is made possible via the CIOps Patron community. You can sign up at ciopspatron.com. There is a dedicated Power Platform community there as well if you just wish to join that. Now, with that, there does seem to be some questions in the queue here. Now, this is all a bit new for me. So again, let me just see if I can work through these. Now, one of the questions I've got here is whether system topics can be modified. So basically, one of the guys, you want to jump in and answer that question for us?
Sure, Rob. A system topic cannot be turned off, but the messaging and flow within the topic can be modified to suit business requirements. So you cannot get rid of them. You can't delete them, turn them off, but you can modify them to suit needs.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for that, Andrew. Another one I've got in here is around, what's sort of, from your point of view, guys, what's the thing that is exciting you the most about the Power Virtual Agents? For me, it was the AI, the integration, but what's the feeling out there from you guys?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that first, Rob. I think it's even exciting before you even get to the AI, just the power of the way it understands what you're typing, and you don't have to repeat yourself. It feels far more personal than filling in a form and feeling like you're repeating yourself, and nobody likes filling in forms anyway. Just that power is very exciting. I tried Andrew's out with the dates, and I just said, I'd like to start my leave next Monday and finish the following Friday, and it just understood what I was doing. It's pretty exciting, that kind of concept.
I think the big thing is that, again, humans interact as, next Friday, tomorrow, yesterday, and having to be super specific and move away from that does make adoption, I think, more difficult for people who aren't in technology and understanding the requirements to be precise. So, again, this move towards true human interaction, I think, is a very is a great thing. But it does take a lot of compute and a lot of challenges behind the scenes. So it looks simple, but we do know there's a huge amount of work that goes into that, and we can obviously go in and take advantage of it. So another question.
I was going to say, it also makes the processing faster because it's only asking the questions that it needs and not irrelevant stuff that it doesn't need. I also like the fact that that we're going into the consumption billing, that a small business, like even a mum and dad business on the street can run a virtual agent to a system and, only be billed for, the times that it's used. So it really does give smaller business the tools that basically large enterprise corporations have had in the past at a minimal cost.
Okay, excellent. So again, lots and lots of stuff there. Here's another one. What do you see as the barriers to actually using these Power Virtual Agents? Hopefully we've given people the starting point, but are there any other major barriers that you feel need to be overcome when it comes to, adopting this inside an organization?
I'm happy to take this on too, Rob. I personally think the biggest barrier is just getting started, procrastination. It really is really simple to get started. And you can just get started on anything that you've got, just so that you get a feel for what it does, and then start thinking about what your topics are, because it's just so easy to get started. I think the biggest barrier is procrastination, just not getting started.
And as the king of procrastinators speaking as right at this moment, I couldn't agree more. You're amazed at how quickly you start developing a bot, and a simple thing after about an hour has turned into something really quite unique and quite powerful.
All right, so I've got a question here from Michael around how much time did it take to build some of these chatbots? So each of you, I think, developed your own little chatbot. So just want to give us a quick review of what your chatbot was, what function it did, and basically how much time you would estimate it would take to create it. Maybe not with you playing around with it, but what was your estimation of the time to create that sort of bot that you demonstrated for everybody?
I started with my TryBot, and I just started playing around with it. I mean, the fact that it comes with some topics out of the box meant I could just build on that alone. So, as I said, it took about, as I put in the demo, it may sometimes take 15 minutes to actually get the chatbot going. But once you're in there, it's up to you as the subject matter expert. So it really could take maybe half to an hour to really start putting together some functionality, some extensive functionality, answer various questions in the bot. I don't know about how long it took Andrew and Bill. Maybe they can answer on how theirs went. Talk.
Well, when I started off, I went to YouTube and looked at a few videos, which were really great in helping me just sort of get started and see how the bot works. Once I'd done that, the main thing was actually creating on a piece of paper a bit of a flow diagram on how I wanted the bot to run, what questions it needed to ask. And then once I'd done that, the actual creation of the bot probably took me somewhere between, 45 minutes to an hour to create that leave request one. It depends on the complexity. When I was sending it out to Power Automate, I had to do a few calculations and so forth, but probably about an hour for me.
Yeah, and I'm similar to Andrew. I didn't go to YouTube. I cheated a little bit and had a look at Andrew's to see how they work. And I created my whole bot in about an hour after having a look at Andrew's and seeing how it works. And the beauty is you can start with something simple and just build on it later. So you can start with a bot that only took you an hour and then come back later and add a little bit more and build it up as you go.
The important thing to know is that as you do build it up, make sure you're saving as you go, obviously. But for it to go live out to the websites, you need to publish the bot. It's a real trap where you sort of make a change, save it, and test it, and then go, oh, hang on, the end users aren't seeing it, and that the publish part of it is very important because that's the final bit that pushes it out to the end users.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think that, again, in short, it doesn't take a lot of time, a little bit of knowledge, and obviously you will improve and speed up as you get more familiar with the interface. I think, as I said, the biggest advantage and the time saving is going to be made up front, designing it, thinking about it, doing a bit of a flow diagram, getting it, the logic down, from your head onto the bit of paper, and that will help alleviate any obvious issues, and again, I think make it much easier to solve. And that will then allow the technology to implement basically what you've got there on paper or got out of your head. So I would suggest that that's probably where the best investment of your time is going to be made, actually thinking about the process, because what I find is when you talk to customers about automating a process, turns out that they're not doing it in the most optimal way anyway, manually, and then they decide that they do want to optimize it before automating it. So again, getting it all down, hashing it all out, and then going and implementing it, I think, is your best bang for your buck. All right, well, I think we've got basically a minute or two, so let me just have a look at any of the other questions we've got here. Now, apart from, the drink ordering, the basic hello bot, and also the leave request bot, what sort of processes would you guys see inside businesses that would lend itself most to Power Virtual Agents? Now, it doesn't have to be super complex. It could be something very simple, but what sort of day-to-day processes, even in your own business, that given infinite time and infinite resources, perhaps, that you'd like to see or you could see being brought into this Power Virtual Agent environment?
I've got a couple of ideas, Rob, that most people will have. Perhaps you've got an FAQ somewhere that is a document, and that document might even be getting quite large. Creating a bot to access the FAQ, you might find a far more better way for it to be interacted with, and most of us have something that we can use. The other thing that I'm keen to use it on is things like user requirements and user guide, helping somebody how to use an app or something. And you could think about when you sit down with a trainer, it's much easier to learn something than if you sit down with a big, huge user guide document. A bot could make it much more like sitting down with a trainer to learn something. I think that would be another good place to start.
I agree. The replacement of the old user manual, which would, sort of lump on someone's desk and be as big as a Bible, and you'd have to try and find something. Just ask the bot what it is and out it comes, especially for new employees starting at an organisation. You could just have a bot to assist them through on their first week.
And I can say, yes, we're on the technology field. We can have some of the more basic technical support style questions be filtered by a bot rather than taking up both the time of the user and of the support team. So some of the simple questions, it may be as simple as turning it off and on again, or it can be, just go to this website, or have a bunch of links to lead off into Microsoft Learn videos or anything like that. So from a technical point of view, it might actually break down into some of the more deeper answers into some actually helpful advice for those users looking for some answers from their trusted support team.
Excellent. All right. Well, again, lots of great suggestions there. I think the employee onboarding is a common task for many businesses that, again, is going to provide a lot of benefit and can continue to be built out. Beyond that, I think that'd be a really good place to start. Just basic questions, even capturing, emergency contact numbers for people, check-ins, all that sort of stuff. So, as always, the possibilities here are limitless thanks to, the Power Platform. If you haven't looked at it, if you haven't started using it, it's part of your subscription. 100% encourage you to get involved with it, start using it. And I would also encourage you to, again, come back and visit it again at the next webinar. We'll be doing another one in the month of December because, again, Power Platform never stops. Watch out for my blog and the emails coming out on how to register that and what topic we choose for that. The recording of this will be posted up onto YouTube and shared if you do wish to go and review it. The slides will be sent to you shortly via the email address you do register upon. Now, with that, I'd like to take the opportunity to obviously thank everybody for attending, their time, and also the great questions that came in. I'll also take this opportunity to thank the guys very much for the effort that was involved in setting this up behind the scenes, doing the slides, getting the bots, and then actually running the demos. It does take quite a bit of work prior to this to present it in such a professional manner. So again, I'll take this opportunity to thank all the presenters for the efforts that they've made today. And remember that all the resources will be available to you after the fact. Look out for our next monthly webinar on the Power Platform. But with that, I will call it quits for this episode.